Okay, everybody, welcome back to week 3, and we are on the last third of the video editing in DaVinci Resolve uh, class here, video editing, and the 1817 page. Remember, we had to kind of upgrade to one that was a little bit more up to date, and that we were working with the best software possible. So we're here over on section 11, which is just moving the transforms around and the motion within the clips themselves here. And I think I'd also like to mention while we're here looking at this is a lot of these between here and 23 or 4. I don't know if we'll do the last one. It's only a minute long. It's just kind of like a conclusion. But there, a lot of them are really short. So this will be an easy week, hopefully, here to get through all this stuff. All right, so I'll see you guys in a second, and we'll start with looking at Resolve and getting through this bit. Okay, so let's get busy here. We're on section 11, Transforms in Motion in the Edit page. And on the here, there's a lot of it's all about keyframing and stuff that we've already seen, where the positioning of the frames, and all that other good stuff. So mostly I'm going to introduce to you keyframing and how that's an important thing. And this is going to happen over the first 5 or 6 skills because it's all so interrelated. So there's no sense in doing it multiple times. Okay, so we're going to pick our favorite old guys in the park here. Let's get away from that. And we're going to do this the old-fashioned way first, and then we're going to do it the new, easy, graphic way second. So to start off with, let's get our frame back to the very beginning, and you can do that by on your keyboard, or my keyboard anyway. I think a regular keyboard is just going to say semicolon. On my keyboard, it says first frame. Okay, that's the first editable frame. And we're up here in the transform box or the cropping box or whatever you want to do. As long as it has a keyframe next to it, you can manipulate that specific skill or whatever the transformation is that you want to do over a period of time. So let's start by putting it where we want to land. Shift, right arrow, advances the playhead exactly 1 second. So I'm going to move this whole frame here in and out from left to right. So I'm going to come over here and I want to put a keyframe of where I want everything to land 1 second in next to the position. Okay? And then I'm going to hit my first frame button, back to the forward, and I'm going to come in here and say position X, which moves along the horizontal line there. Yeah, that's right, horizontal. I'm going to push my index finger down, left click on it, and just simply move it over. And the moment I move that a bit, it created a keyframe. And let me twirl that down so you can see those keyframes here. So this is where we want it to land. This is where we start here. And the minute I move that, even in the slightest little bit, it created its own keyframe. So let's look at this, what we got here. Let's just say play real quick and we'll move it in. Yeah, nice. Maybe one more time? Okay. Nice. Pretty easy. Okay, so let's move back to number 1 here. On this here too, with this, we can smooth this. We've only done one axis, one, and I'll move this down a little bit so we can see what's happening here. Can we say Control C? Maybe move this up a touch so we can see the whole thing here. So this line, this point here represents this point here, the position. We can highlight that guy and come over here and smooth him a little bit. Move this around and make that a little easier in, easier out. Let's come up here and play it. Yeah, nice and cushy. Oops. Anyway, back to the beginning. All right, so that's the kind of way of doing this via the whole transform page. It's not as easy as doing this. Let me let's just clear this using our master reset button right up here. Boom. Master reset. We're back with our favorite old farts here at the park. Passed out in the park. Very nice. So again, let's come over here and highlight our shortcuts key here. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can pick from here. We've been through this before earlier on that, so I'm not going to re go over everything, but you can get to pretty much everything you need to get to over here from right here. Pretty much. So when I said transformation, it put us up a bounding box here. So with this bounding box, we can do all kinds of shit. We can move it everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. And if you want it to go back to right where it was to begin with, let's just say Control Z, and that brings us pretty much to where we were in the beginning, I think. There we go. Sorry about that. There was some old stuff in there. Reset. That's for sure going to bring us back. So just like we did before here, we're going to say Shift, right arrow, 1 second end. Let's drop a keyframe next to position here. Okay. And let's just click on position just so that we can see what we're doing. And because I'm moving it around by hand and I'm going to move it off to the right, I'm going to hold down my shift key just so I get a nice, oops, shouldn't have done that so soon. First thing I got to do is before I move this, I got to come over here and I got to tell it where I want it to go. So I'm going to hit my first frame button, hold down shift, and then move it off. At which time, the second I moved that, it created a keyframe there. Bink. So now we pretty much have the same thing when we play it, except we've done it graphically. First frame, play, nice. Okay, so and all of this here, from here, this guy here on the left, all the way over to this guy here on the right, is the graphic representation of these two keyframes. Okay, you can see that this part that's moving is its center, and when it lands on its keyframe, it has completed its mission. All right, so something cool about these keyframes in this portion is you can come over here and you can say smooth. And when we clicked on smooth, that created two more little points on our motion line here. And on these two little points, you should be able to manipulate the time between these two, whether it comes in fast or slow, and the path on which it moves. So I'm going to come over here and grab this little guy and see what happens. So you see I'm moving those little dots forward. Each of those little dots represents a frame. The further apart they are, the faster it goes. The closer they are together, the slower it goes. Okay, and I believe on this guy here, when we move that, we can change its path too. So if you want to, you can do this from either way. So just for fun, I slowed this down and I changed its path so it's not quite so wiggle waggly. So let's go to first frame, play. Not so great, but you get the idea. To get rid of the wiggle waggly, we can do Control Z. That brings us back to the straight line, but it left us with our smoothing out here. You can also do the smoothing down here as well if you want to by right-clicking on this line here and then doing that just like we did with the other stuff on the curves panel. I don't know that the curves panel is any faster than doing this. I suppose it's handy to, if there was something really complicated where you had to make a bunch of different adjustments all at once, I could see where the curves panel would be handy. But so since we've put our curve over here, we can move this guy to, come on, up, down, in and out. You see how I'm moving this here, in and out, and those lines are closer together or further apart. So that's the smoothing up there represented by the smoothing I'm doing down here. Okay? Okay. So that's that one, and I'm going to leave this alone for just a second and hop off and prepare the next lesson for you, which is the dynamic zooming, and that's really cool. And that's something that Premiere Pro, or as far as I know, nobody else really has, but it's kind of handy. And it's doable, but it's in the other programs, but it's just up in your face and handy here. Okay, see you in a second. Okay, so in preparations for the next skill, I've selected our guy here that's coming over the railing, doing a little flip with a cartwheel. Uh, we are in select mode. We have our snap on, and we're in good shape here. Okay, so let's first off go to first frame here, and then over to X. Now X marks the clips in and out on this guy, or should, so that we can later use the Alt Opt play around and play the whole clip back, because this is going to get a little complex here in just a second. So first off, what we're doing here, what are we doing? We are doing dynamic zoom. So I don't know if you remember when we talked about this before, a few sections back, but this is something, again, that happens over time. And when we bring the inspector down and turn dynamic zoom on, you'll note that there's no keyframes to be had in it here, but you can still do a master reset on it. So right now, this, as you look up here and you see this is not exactly how it was meant to be or how it comes out of the box. When I do the master reset key, it makes the green box just a little bit smaller than the red box. The green box means go, that's where you start. Red box means stop, that's where it ends over the period of time of the clip. Okay. So I found that it's a good way to demonstrate this when we start small and get big. Then I'm going to hit Alt or Option / play around and show you that it was very zoomed in at the beginning. Yeah, okay. And it's playing back and forth. Now, when we come over here to this side, I don't know if there's any dynamic zoom. If we right click on that, it's just dynamic zoom. It doesn't look like there's any specialty step, but there is over here. Okay. I'm going to take the keyboard down just for just a second so you can see that a little bit better. So over here in dynamic zoom, under dynamic zoom base, we can come over here and say, do you want it to ease in, ease out, or both? I prefer to see it ease out rather than ease in, but let's play it both ways just for fun. Then it lands. So that's easing out. This is nothing. That's just straight linear here. I will replay that just to give you an idea. Because this is a slow-mo clip, it's not going to do as good a job as I would hope for. Okay, let's pause it. Let's do ease in and ease out. And play that again. Alt / play around. There's it's easing in, easing out. Okay, so here we are. One last thing to see here. There's all kinds of stuff that can be done. Now, if you want to, let's go ahead and say put it to first frame. Come on. First frame. There we go. Now, he's kind of coming in here. You see this? It'll move around a little bit. We can really get nice and tight on him. We don't have to go all the way out to the edge. We know that he's going to land over here on that side of the thing. So let's move our over there a little bit. So we have a movement of the first box and a movement of the second box. Let's play it, see how it looks. Maybe I've done something cool. I hope so. So it moves down. It kind of follows him over as it's coming out. Nice. All right. So a nice thing where this could be very handy is on a still. So if you have just a picture in here, you could zoom in on that picture in the beginning and then zoom out to either side of the picture, or just to create some motion from stillness. That would be a very nice thing, and you see that a lot on news and things like that when they've only got a photographer still, just to give it a little bit of life. They move forward with that. Any rate, I will be right back, and let's see where we've been left off here. Okay, so this is a super handy and the last skill of section 11, and I use this all the time for color correction. It's also a Premiere Pro thing as well, but here's the easy peasy thing. Give it a right click. We come up and we say copy. Pretty simple. You can also do that with Control C down there on the keyboard if you so desire. And then let's move on over here to the guy that we were just playing around with. And I've left our in and out thing over the top of it there. So let's come on and say paste, but we're not going to paste you could paste it over here if you wanted to, but that's not what we're after. What we're after is pasting the attributes of it. Also done as Alt V on here. Is V actually marked? It is marked as an edit. So paste attributes. What happens on paste attributes? It brings up a dialog box. So the first thing to talk about here is timing. Do we want to copy the timing that we just did with that 1 second thing? Or do we want to stretch it to fit, meaning that that 1 second will be based on how big our new clip is? So we're going to try it for the first time just on that. And we're going to just clip on video attributes, and that'll catch everything. If we didn't, what did we do actually on that one? We moved the what did we move? We moved the position around. So let's copy the position for our that on there and say apply, and bring our playhead over. Come back to first frame and see what happens here. First frame. Now you notice it's not there, but it brought it in just like I did the other one. Okay, so let's try another little experiment here. Let's go back to paste attributes, except instead of this time from maintaining timing, let's say stretch to fit and apply. And come back to first frame and then click the play button. Now you'll notice that came in much slower and eased its way in just like we did in the other one, but over a period of time. So that clip was based on the size, this timing was based on the size of this clip in comparison to the size of the other clip that it came from. So you see how much smaller this guy is than that other one? You can zoom out here a little bit. So that's true even of like a smaller clip. So if we wanted, for example, to say, come in here, let's put our playhead on this little guy and zoom in on him. Can we zoom in on him and say, and do the same thing, paste the attributes and stretch to fit? There's no way that that's going to last more than a second. So we can't say maintain the timing, but we can say stretch to fit. And that also means compact to fit. Apply, first frame it. Come on. Play it. Didn't copy. Paste attributes. Stretch to fits. I forgot to click apply. First frame. There we go. It's going to come in really fast. Boom. Because of the size of the clip. All right, so I'm going to Z out of all this stuff here. And that should do it for that guy. I'm going to go double check back and see where we are with things, but I think that covers it. Customize dynamic zoom, paste attributes, and we have completed the assignments upon our demonstration of this. Very good. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next section.